You know how we love digging deep, uncovering those hidden stories, right?
Hmm.
Well, get this. Today's deep dive takes us all the way to China,
Okay.
where a famous waterfall is making a splash online, but for all the wrong reasons.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's this video going around. It seems to show a pipe.
A pipe.
Yeah, like a big one, supplying water to this impressive waterfall.
Wow.
It's called the Yuntai Waterfall.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be this totally natural wonder.
Okay.
But this video is making people think it might not be as natural as tourists believe.
Interesting.
And get this, the park's response is actually pretty clever.
Okay. How so?
Well, they say it's just a tiny improvement.
A tiny improvement.
Yeah, for the dry season,
Yeah.
to ensure that the waterfall can always greet the public in its most beautiful appearance.
So they're not denying it?
Exactly. They're kind of owning it, but in a way that's supposed to reassure people.
Clever.
Right. So is this sneaky trickery or just clever management? What do you think?
That's a great question. And it really gets to the heart of how we manage these incredible natural attractions in a world where tourism is so important.
It's true. This Yuntai waterfall, it's a big deal. It's over 1,000 feet tall.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, and it's located in this top-rated tourist park. They have a rating system in China.
Right, the AAA rating system.
Exactly. And this park has the highest rating.
Mm.
So, they're serious about attracting visitors.
Oh, absolutely. Those ratings matter a lot. It's a huge part of tourism in China.
Right. And they even describe the waterfall as a Milky Way flying down.
Wow, that's quite an image.
Yeah. You can see why people might feel a little misled if they find out it's being helped along by a pipe.
Definitely. And it seems like people are reacting in different ways.
Yeah, I was just looking at some comments on Chinese social media.
Oh, yeah. What are people saying?
It's pretty mixed. Some people are outraged. They feel like they've been deceived.
Understandably.
But then others are more forgiving. They're like, hey, as
Yeah.
long as it looks beautiful, who cares?
Yeah, you can see both sides, I guess.
Totally. So what do you make of the park's explanation? They're calling it a tiny improvement for the dry season.
It's definitely interesting the language they're using. A tiny improvement.
Right.
It's almost like they're downplaying it, making it seem insignificant.
Yeah, and by focusing on the dry season, they're implying that this is only happening sometimes.
Exactly. Like it's just a little boost to ensure a consistent experience for tourists.
It reminds me of, I don't know if you've ever seen those documentaries about
About peacock feathers.
oh yeah, they're so beautiful and impressive, but
There's a lot of work that goes into maintaining them.
exactly. It's kind of like they're focusing on the visual spectacle and not so much on the behind-the-scenes work.
Yeah, it's a good analogy. And it raises the question of what's more important, the natural process or the final visual impact.
Especially with waterfalls, right?
Mm.
Because their appearance naturally changes depending on the season.
Absolutely.
Huh.
And China has a monsoon climate, so they have these very distinct wet and dry seasons.
Right. So maintaining a constant flow for a waterfall that size,
It would be a challenge.
yeah, for sure.
And it makes you wonder if maybe there's a precedent for this kind of intervention.
Well, there is actually. There's another famous waterfall in China called the Huangguoshu Waterfall.
Okay, yeah, I've heard of that one.
So back in 2004, they built a dam.
A dam?
Yeah, to regulate the flow of the waterfall.
Wow, so they could guarantee that there would be a spectacular waterfall even during the dry season.
Exactly. And the interesting thing is that the public reaction to that was pretty positive.
Really? So they were okay with this big intervention?
Yeah, they saw it as a way to guarantee access to this natural wonder year-round.
So it's interesting that there's this difference in reaction between the two waterfalls, right?
Totally.
Like the Huangguoshu Dam, that was a much bigger intervention.
Right, a whole dam.
But it seems like people were more accepting of that.
Yeah, and here with the Yuntai Waterfall, even though it's a smaller intervention, it's causing more controversy.
It makes you think about what influences public perception, right?
Yeah, like is it the scale of the alteration?
Or maybe it's about transparency.
Right, or maybe even cultural attitudes towards manipulating nature.
Yeah, there could be a lot of factors at play.
So what do you think is the key difference here between these two cases?
Well, maybe it has to do with how they were presented.
Okay.
Like with the Huangguoshu Dam, it was framed as a necessity for water management,
Right.
while the Yuntai pipe, it feels more like a cosmetic enhancement.
Yeah, like they're just trying to make it look prettier.
Exactly. And the technology is different, too.
That's true.
A dam is a huge visible structure. Everyone knows it's there.
Right.
But a hidden pipe, it feels more like a secret.
Yeah, like they're trying to trick people.
Maybe. And that could be why people are reacting more negatively.
It makes you wonder, as technology advances, are we going to see even more sophisticated ways to enhance nature?
Oh, definitely. I think that's inevitable.
And where do we draw the line?
Right. That's the big question.
Yeah,
As we become more capable of manipulating the natural world, I think it's crucial to have these conversations about the ethical implications.
totally.
Oh, wait.
Like, who gets to decide what level of intervention is acceptable?
Exactly. And what impact might these enhancements have on the environment?
Yeah, this deep dive has given us a lot to think about.
For sure.
The Yuntai Waterfall controversy. It's really a microcosm of this much larger debate
Right.
about how we interact with nature in an age of technology.
Absolutely.
Hmm?
And it forces us to confront our values.
Yeah, like, do we value the authenticity of natural experiences?
Or do we prioritize spectacle and accessibility?
And what responsibility do we have to preserve these wonders for future generations?
Big questions.
Yeah,
Things to ponder
for sure.
for all of us.
Definitely. This deep dive was just the beginning, right?
Absolutely. There's so much more to explore here.
Yeah, so we encourage you to keep digging, keep thinking, and let's keep this conversation going.
Definitely.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive,
My pleasure.
and we'll see you next time.
See you then.